morning. This morning we're going to be talking about three sides of the transition that you experience when you separate from the military, whether it's ETS, retirement, medical board, or whatever. It's all of them the same. You're going to go through that same transition. You'll have different areas that are different for you, but mostly it'll be the same thing. For me, it was the hardest thing that I've ever done, and I'm still doing it today because I don't ever feel like that you can make that full transition kind of like a job. When you make a transition to a new job, you eventually get to a point in that new job where you made that transition all the way and it's no longer a struggle or whatever. But I think because me being in for 20 years active, 9 years guard, I think that that is just like I said, ingrained in me. The first thing that people will miss is the uniform, because that was their identity. That was who they are, and that's what they think they still are. And for the most part, they are. But beside the people that knew you as a soldier, nobody else knows that you are a soldier. So when you walk into your civilian job, nobody automatically sees a soldier because of the fact that you're not wearing a uniform anymore. And you had that security, you had that confidence, you had that ability to be able to be recognized when you had that uniform on. People would automatically know you were a soldier or a Marine, or I'll keep referring to soldier because it's just in my natural vocabulary, but it's the same for Marines, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard. It is hard to do things in a different environment, especially when you don't feel like that you're the same person that you were. You are the same person, you're the same, hard charging, get things done and everything. You're just in an environment where now things are no longer that way. People aren't hard charging. People aren't trying to get things done. People aren't motivated to do things because that's what they're expected to do, So it's a difficult process in that you're a stranger in a foreign land, literally. Even though you're in the U.S., in your state or whatever, you're literally a foreigner in a new land. The way we interact, the way we joke around with our soldiers, the way we joke around with our veterans, all of that is part of what our behavior was for many years. You could drop a shit bomb on somebody and nobody ever, they laugh. You can't do that in the civilian world. Like I said, I've been through anger management and I've been through therapy. I'm in therapy now, so it's not a bad thing. It's something that helps me be able to be the person that I need to be without frustrating myself more than anything else. Your thinking process has changed completely. Used to, you'd be alarm go off at, for me being a cook, alarm go off at 4:30, it'd be work at 5. I'm in charge of 15, 20 people in the kitchen. We get breakfast out, we starting lunch. We get lunch out, we're cleaning up, and then we go to the motor pool or do something in the unit, whatever, and then finally about 4:35, after all my meetings, I'm going home, and that's basically, and then when I was doing PT every other day, I'd go to PT at 6:30, and then I'd go to shift at 10:30, and sometimes I'd go into the motor pool before that and everything, you know. So it's hard, you know. That's a routine, and you know, after you do it for a few months, it becomes a routine when you're in basic. You know, try doing that routine for 20 years and then stepping out into a completely different routine where people can be late. People don't show up dressed, you know, in their uniforms, you know, work uniforms. People half-ass things. People do things that are just ridiculously stupid, you know, and you're wanting to call them stupid, you know. And you know, it's one of those things that just is gonna have to find that moment that where you can be okay with it, you know. And that took 3-4 years for me to do, you know. Transition for the family, you know, the wife or the husband, depending on which one was the spouse, military spouse. You know, it's one of those things that you have to almost relearn. Especially like me, I was gone for 4 of the last 8 years when my son was being raised, and so it's one of those things that I have to relearn. I have to relearn who my wife is. Yes, I was home, but in between deployments, I kept moving back and forth to the field and moving to NTC or, you know, wherever, working long nights and weekends, getting stuff ordered and getting stuff shipped and stuff, you know. So it's difficult to maintain a marriage, but it's not impossible. But in the civilian world, they don't have where they're separated for a year and 15 months, you know, or 15 months, you know, or separated for 30 days here, then come home for maybe 3 months and then gone for 30 days again, you know. So that's another thing that is difficult, you know. You're trying to negotiate those barriers. So you have to, when you get out, I had to do it. I had to relearn who my wife was, how she did things, why she did things the way she did, because our personalities are different. I'm a very assertive type person, get things done. She is a passive aggressive person, so for her to, you know, kind of say, hey, we need to get this done, and then if I take too long, she's going to do it, you know, and then I'm frustrated because she did it because I took too long to do it, you know. And just little examples like that, you know. So it's kind of like one of those things that you're trying to, you know, almost start over. You know, somebody suggested we date, you know, which is kind of weird after you've been married for 20 years. Well, been married for 18. But, you know, it's kind of weird, you know, but maybe that will work, you know. And then, you know, obviously the mental side, you know, I have depression, anxiety, PTSD, you know, and to deal with those things in the civilian world just gets amped up to another point of being more difficult because people in the civilian world and stuff don't understand that stuff. They think that, just like the Army, if you have a mental health illness, there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. You know, just like when my leaders at Fort Hood, when I went to mental health and then they pulled me in the office, wanting to know what the hell's going on. I said, they told me it was a chemical imbalance. My serotonin level is off. They gave me some Prozac to take, and things are okay. You know, I just had to manage medication and talk to my therapist and stuff like that, you know. And, you know, why it was a big deal is because, one, we had just gotten back from our first deployment in Iraq, and we knew we were going again. So, obviously, the big thing of how are you going to be in combat comes up, because obviously that's the one thing that everybody needs to know. Can you take care of things when the shit hits the fan? And I knew I could, you know, but the thoughts that they were having, which they conveyed to me, you know, it's like, I don't know, you know, we're gonna have to see, you you know. Uh, I had been at Fort Hood by that time for 3.5 years, and so God, I can't even remember the name of the thing now, but it's the people that reassigned you. Uh, Branch reassigned me, but they sent me to another unit on Fort Hood because we had 3 E6s. And they needed to get rid of one, and I was the ranking in C6 with most time in the unit, so they sent me over to another unit. So that, changed a little bit with the way things happen. And in fact, the first month I was in that unit, I was out in the woods, and I was taking care of another unit from Fort Polk. And because of the way I took care of that unit from Fort Polk, the commander for that unit from Fort Polk put me in for Impact AAM. And so, I don't know if you've ever transferred the units on another post, on the same post, but anytime that you come in there and you get a Impact AAM, I start looking at you really hard because they're going to know what the hell are you doing. Most of the time it's brown nosing. I wasn't brown nosing. It was just the way I am, But I kind of got a target on my back. And then, of course, this is in the unit that I threatened my NCO, and all that. So everybody knew about my mental health again, and it's not like I go around broadcasting my mental health, but obviously when something like that happens, things get kind of kicked out of control. I was already seeing mental health. Standard procedure is anytime that you have this type of thing, you're automatically referred to mental health. I was referred to mental health there on the FOB at Liberty. They evac me to Germany and spent a week in mental health ward in Germany, and then they sent me back to Fort Hood, and things are good. It's just that was one isolated incident that had to do with one person who I didn't get along with, who happened to be my boss. So, it's a whole big change with everything. There's nothing that is the same in the military to civilian world at all. It is the hardest thing I have ever done and doing. But the good thing about it is there are a lot of veterans around you who are going through the exact same thing. So as you go to VFWs, American Legions, whatever, you'll be given a chance to talk to other veterans and stuff, and you'll be able to start sharing these feelings, and you'll find out that you are not alone. People are there. People have been through that. People are going through that. And so it's more about being together with people than it is being alone. And so I want to encourage you to find your group, find a group of people you can involved in. You will find out that this journey goes a lot better when you have people who you can count on and who are there for you than those who are not. And the veterans will always be there for you because that's what we do. I feel like I said, I think I've said this a lot, it is the same thing that I did in the military that I'm doing now. I took care of soldiers in the military, and now I'm taking care of veterans, helping veterans, and the likeness between the two are as close as I'm going to get to anything that I had in the military, but this is by me making a choice to do this, and it's my purpose, so I wouldn't want to be doing anything else. This is what I want to do, this is who I am, and this is what a lot of people who want to do things with veterans can do. Y'all just talk to each other, Don't let anybody ever feel like they're alone. Don't ever let anybody suffer in silence alone. Mental health in the military, mental health in the veterans world is a big deal, and we gotta fight those battles every day. We gotta keep fighting them, and we gotta keep going through them. So like I said, with the transition that we're going through, you know, it's we're not alone. We got buddies around us, and anytime that you need to talk or anything, you can PM me on my Facebook page, and I'll be glad to talk to you about anything. You know, I want to help you, but the only way that I can help you is that you reach out to me. Okay, if you don't reach out to me, I can't help you. You know, it's just like, you know, like I said, my wife is passive aggressive, okay? I gotta be able to read her mind, basically, you know, which is technically impossible, you know, but it's kind of like that. I can't read your mind, you know. I need to know, hey, and all you gotta do is say, I need some help. There's no judgment. It's a safe zone. We all been there. We all know what it is. We know what we have to do. And so, you know, today, that's the day that this is finally clicked into you, you know, to reach out to somebody. It doesn't have to be me. You can reach out to a buddy of yours at work, or a buddy of yours, a friend, or at the club, or whatever. Wherever you need to reach out, you know. Yeah, that's basically it for today. Like I said, next week we'll probably be talking about, you know, some more transition issues or whatever. You know, I mean, I kind of just play weeks sometimes by ear. If something hot off the press pops up that I need to talk about, that I've seen other veterans having trouble with, then I'll talk about that. But just know that you're not alone. So y'all take care, and I'll talk to y'all next week.